Everything that you're about to see and hear is factual. Only some of the names have been changed. Some things are left better unexplained. Arizona, November 2006. I was working for the state police department in their cybercrimes division. It can be a boring job some days. You work long hours, and there's not always something to do. So, you snoop a little, look at cold cases, fish for information, look into dark corners of the department servers. You find cases that make for interesting reading. Sometimes you find out just how fucking deranged and downright disturbing people can be. All that aside, no matter how messed up it gets, it doesn't hold a candle to this case. Reports filed showed that on November 2nd, 2006, 2 officers were dispatched to a reported domestic disturbance at approximately 1:40 a.m. from a 911 call. The disturbance was at a middle-class rancher in a decent neighborhood belonging to a family of 3. Officers on scene report that they found the front door open with the lights on inside, and after receiving no response when making their presence known, they entered the home. In both reports, the officers stated that they noticed an eerie calm, a silence upon entering. When they found the first body in the living room, they radioed for backup. Additional reports filed showed that upon discovery of the first body, both officers drew their sidearms. Their search of the house ended in the kitchen when they found the bodies of the remaining residents. Crime scene photos paint a vivid picture of the carnage that had taken place. All 3 victims had been completely mutilated. The on-scene officers and the crime scene investigators later commented about the amount of blood they found at the scene, stated that they never knew so much blood could come from 3 people. After securing the house and waiting for backup, one of the on-scene officers noticed that the door of the fridge was ajar. Upon closer inspection, it was determined that the fridge was at an odd angle and away from the wall. I can't explain any of this. Maybe some things can't be explained.
A young woman was detained early this morning after being found on scene of a horrific triple homicide at 400 block of Hilton Avenue. The as-of-yet unidentified woman is described as 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing approximately 115 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. She was taken away in an unmarked black sedan by plainclothes officers to an undisclosed location. Her state of mind was described by people at the scene as catatonic, confused, and at times also. The Arizona Police Department has issued no statement, and the Arizona PR officer Millman continues to decline comment. No police report has been filed, and many victims continue to be honest.
She was crouched in the space between the fridge and the wall and covered in blood. Unlike the other bodies, she was naked. While one shined a flashlight on the body, the other approached her for a closer inspection. I've read their jackets. They're good cops who had years of experience. I don't think anyone in their position would have acted any differently. Her eyes opened. The one officer stumbled backwards and drew his gun. The other officer did the same. Both report that there was something about her that set them on edge. There was something about her that frightened them. Something just not right. Her hands and feet were soaked in blood. Her eyes were clear, piercing, and alert. They yelled at her, told her to come out from behind the fridge, lay down on the ground with her hands on her head. She didn't respond. She wasn't scared and gave no indication that she understood anything that was going on or that they were saying. She just kind of looked at them. By this time, backup arrived on the scene. They all drew their sidearms, yelled at her, threatened her, and tried to intimidate her. She just didn't respond. She just kind of stared at them. One of the officers grabbed her by the hair and dragged her out from behind the fridge. They pinned her up against the wall and then put the handcuffs on her. She made no effort to resist. She just kind of stared at them again. Just for the record, I'm not a man of faith. I believe everything in this world can be explained with science, but there is nothing that explains what they found when they processed her at the station that night. Photos taken show that she is very pale with clear skin. Her body, strange, had a perfection about it. At first glance, she is a completely normal-looking young woman. That's about as normal as she gets. Reports describe her as cold to the touch, like consistently cold. No matter how long she stayed in that station, no matter how long she was questioned, she just stayed cold. Might be able to explain that if I were a doctor, but I doubt a doctor could explain her eyes. Yeah, try explaining her eyes. They don't have a specific color, They took 8 different mugshots, and not once did her eyes have a definitive color. They changed from minute to minute, or depending on who was looking at her, or whatever angle they were shooting at. They tried to fingerprint her. She had no fingerprints. I'm not saying she carved them off like the guy in the movie 7 or whatever. I'm saying she had no identifying contours on her fingers. None. I can't explain it. I've tried, but nothing in these reports adds up. Here were seasoned police officers that were called to the scene of a domestic disturbance. They arrive on scene, and it was a fucking massacre. And then there's this mysterious girl covered in blood. And the blood, that was the weirdest part of all of this. They drew a sample of her blood to run tests on it, like they always do. While they also ran tests to match the blood that they found at the crime scene and of the victims. Testing showed that the blood that she was covered in was AB/RH negative. It's the rarest blood type on Earth. None of the victims had that blood type. It didn't even match. And her blood, they couldn't even classify it as human. I can't explain any of this. Maybe some things are left better unexplained. Maybe there are things that man wasn't meant to know. I submit these reports and all of this evidence to you in the hopes that someone, somewhere, can possibly make sense of all of this.